Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Jem. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. Today, we are doing a speed build in The Sims 4. And in this build, I made a bookstore for my cottage living Henford-on-Bagley world save file. And for this build, I used only 2 packs in addition to the base game. I used Cottage Living and I used Get Together. And with this build, I just knew I wanted to create a really cozy bookstore slash cafe. And so that's what I set out to do. I picked this lot that's kind of on like the countryside, and I started getting to work making the basic shape for the build and adding a second floor, adding a little room on the right hand side that you can see with a lot of windows, which was later turned into a sunken sort of reading room. And yeah, I kind of struggled with the roofs a little bit and had to play around with those a lot, but I eventually got the hang of it and decided on a shape I wanted. But whenever I start a build, it can be difficult to sort of decide if I like the build or not, because a lot of the things that really pull the build together in The Sims are the details. So that could be like I think they're called window sculptures, wall sculptures, but like the window boxes, or the landscaping, or the clutter if it's interior, anything like that. So right now I'm just working on finishing up the roofs and adding a fireplace to that left hand side. And I just could not for a long time figure out the slope of the first floor roof that I wanted. And I wanted to make sure that there was a decent amount of walls sticking out so that the windows could still be pretty visible on the second floor, but I also wanted to have a semi-steep roof slope, or at least one that appeared to be semi-steep. And I finished with the roof, and I started making this sort of walkway out of terrain paint and end tables, believe it or not. And so here, if you don't know, you can hold down Alt to freely move an object, and if you go click on the camera button in the top right corner, you can switch to a camera that is basically the Sims 3 camera. And with that, you can hold down Alt and left click and drag to freely rotate an object whatever direction you want, 365 degrees. I was using the tool mod a lot for this build since I finally started to get the hang of how the mod works and a lot of the controls, because before I thought that you had to use the menu to move objects off lot and that you couldn't really like freely move items, I guess, if that makes sense. I thought in order to move something off the lot, you had to use the menu and enter specific coordinates that you wanted to move it. So I was really frustrated with that. And I saw a tutorial that explained a lot for me, and that was really helpful. So I started using that, and I realized that the controls aren't as confusing as it seems at first. It just really helps to watch a video tutorial to kind of get the basics down. So in this build, I got a lot more comfortable with Tool, and I wasn't totally sure if I wanted to add a pond to the side of the front yard, but I decided to go for it, and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I used a lot of plants, and I even added a fountain and submerged it under the water so that it's not visible. And I have yet to test it in live mode, but I will definitely have to see if that works, or how well it works, if the water from the fountain is visible or not, etc. I also decided to add a lot of flowers into the pond area, which really helped to create a cozy, almost fairy tale-like cottage feel. And Henford-on-Bagley, the cottage living world that I'm building in this video, is one of my favorite worlds in The Sims 4, I think, for sure. It's just so cozy and has a really nice overgrown forest vibe to it that I love. During this section, I started adding a lot of roof decorations, which also help a lot to make your exteriors look more full, I guess you could say. And here I was having a hard time getting that little chimney to be in the right place, but I added a lot of roof decorations, and they added so much to the build. I'm really pleased with how they turned out. And these little kind of roof pieces from Cottage Living, they're called roof toupees, are so cute. I love just the little details that you can add to kind of the pinnacle, or I guess the top of the roof with those. So it's always a lot of fun to be able to use them. I started doing a lot of landscaping off the lot as well for this build, and while I don't believe that will be visible if you download the build from the gallery, you would be able to likely see those changes in your game if I upload the save file once it's completed, which I do plan to do. It's just going to be Henford-on-Bagley, I think. And that's all that's going to be changed, but I do plan to upload it. But this is my first, I guess, public save file I'm making, so please keep that in mind, that I don't have a lot of experience with creating custom Sim save files, but I definitely wanted to give it a try. And it's a lot of fun so far, because you get to make your own Sims and kind of design lots. Like, I'd never made a bookstore in The Sims before, but that idea had me super excited. And the train paint that I am putting down here has little flowers in it, and it's just from the base game, but I think it added a really magical effect to the ground, especially because of where the lot is located. Now I started playing around with adding a little bit of a gazebo of sorts, and I didn't finish the gazebo in this video, nor did I do interior. That might be covered in some shorts, I'm not totally sure, but I didn't want to record the entire interior decorating process because I wanted to be able to use more packs for that to kind of add some extra flair to the interior. But the exterior I'm really proud of, and the interior too so far. Here I'm just adding a roof to the gazebo, and for kind of pavilions like that, if you're struggling to find a way to add a roof to it, you can just add a little room like I did, that 2-tile wide room, and then place the roofing on top of that. But then I realized that I had quite a problem with these columns that were sticking out a lot from under the roof, and so I tried moving them to the side. But then when you try to move an object just a tiny bit by holding down Alt and clicking in the direction you want the object to move with tool, it might move up or down a bit, so I had to go and adjust that for each of the columns as well. I was a little worried that I started to add too much white to the pavilion, but I think it looks really cute in the end. And I definitely didn't want to go overboard on brown because there was already a lot of brown with the main building, so I didn't want that to be too overpowering, which is where the white came in to kind of draw some attention away from all of the brown in the build. And another idea was to place these cute little window boxes from Get Together in a way that looks like they're almost attached to the railings of the gazebo. And I only did this for the front side, not to the back, because it did take a little bit of time and was somewhat tedious to do. But I think overall I've learned a lot from this build, not only just with navigating the tool mod, but also just a lot of little Sims building tricks and things like that. I tried to find a good sign here to put out front, but then I decided that that wouldn't really fit for what I wanted. So I just continued adding those wall sculptures to the outside. I don't know why they're called wall sculptures per se, because there are quite a bit of wall plants in this category, not just sculptures, so I feel like maybe they should name the category something different. But that's for EA to figure out. And here I can see the build really coming together with the windows and the flower boxes and all sorts of things like that. That really just helped to make the store look a little more, I don't want to say dated, but lived in. I don't know if lived in would be the right word either. Just sort of less new. And I really like that, especially in a world like Henford on Bagley, where everything is sort of made in the style of really old stone cottages. I'm also really proud of these shutters as well that I placed. They're really just another type of window, but I was able to rotate them with a tool to get a sort of open shutters look. Shutters, is that what they would be called? I don't know. Whatever you want to call them. And that's basically it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!